All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unveiling Beauty. So good to be here with all of you tonight. Thanks for joining. Ammon, how you doing today?
I'm excellent, Mr. Stenson. It's so good to have you back on the show with me. I was missing you as a co-host.
Been a little busy, so thanks for leading the charge while I was gone.
I got you. I know that it would be like the most important thing in the world for you to miss being on the show with me. So
Totally.
You know what, like I wanted to talk about to kick off the show, because as scary as it sounds, like winter is right around the corner, right? Like I wanted to hold on to fall for as long as I can, but it's coming. Winter is coming. For any of you Game of Thrones people out there, winter is indeed coming. So that means what? Winter hair trends. Let's talk about that a little bit in some cute ways, because what I always like to talk about is like, how can people that live in colder climates like Chicago or where I grew up in Utah wear these cute little winter hats and make them look cute? But then there's always like that little hat hair moment. Have you ever had like that, or like had your clients come in like, what do I do? Like when they're taking off their hats and the static electricity happens. So Nick, I want to know from you, because I have a couple little like secrets, but like anything that you do to like, that you would talk to your guests about to solve for winter hair woes.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so funny, speaking of winter hair woes, my hair has changed dramatically from what was once a winter hair thing to now having textured hair back. So like I was when I was a kid. So before it used to be like, if I wore a hat and took it off, my perfect blowout straight hair was all screwed up. Now wearing curly, it's totally different. I could throw a little nice curl cream in my hair and shake it out and go. So it's totally different based on the hair types that you have. And what are some things, I know, one of the things that you and I talk about all the time, and that's kind of an industry hair hack, is the whole dryer sheet. So tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's the little secret tip that I wanted to give, because all the drier climates that can happen if you're, like the dry elements when you're in a heater, it can like start to dry out your hair, and that can mean you just need like oils and stuff product wise. But like actually an insider secret from the hairdresser side is we just use like those dryer sheets that are like static cling that you put in the dryer with your clothes. If you keep those with you, you can put them, literally rub them on your hair before and after you use the hat, and it'll keep your hair and your head like static free.
It also works good if you're indoors and there's a lot of heat, and it's a dry, environment that you're in, and we have static, right? It happens to our clothes. Dryer sheets work on the clothes. They also work on the hair. So it's kind of a fun little hair hack. But to your point, Ammon, you talked a lot about, keeping oil or a spray in your pocket, something that's like a moisturizing spray or any kind of curl creams or things like that can add moisture to your hair, because that's where static comes from. That's where all the frizziness comes from, is the lack of moisture that you're feeling in the hair.
Absolutely. And it always depends on where you're living and where in your geographic location. So fun little winter tips for you guys to take back and use for you. I want to make sure that also we're talking, because today's episode is really exciting, right? It's called Timeless Texture Trends. And so it's one that we've been looking forward to really introducing when we really do talk about, different texture types, and we're talking about different climates and how different texture types and different, Nick, your curly hair and straight hair, how it reacts in different ways. So what a great setup for us to talk about how timeless texture trends have lasted through the ages. And we've got a great show planned for you guys today.
I know, I'm excited. We have two amazing artists for today, but don't forget, it doesn't end here. Tomorrow, Ammon and I are going to be on Instagram at 6 p.m. Central Time, going over an abbreviated version of today's show. So if you missed it today, you can catch it on Instagram tomorrow. We're going to be giving away some cool prizes.
That's right. Don't forget to tune in for those prizes. So let's get right into it. Let's introduce our guests. I want to start off by introducing Ciara Costenoble, coming to us from Paris, by the way. Very chic. Love it. She's incredible. Welcome to the show. And also, I want to welcome to the show Evie Johnson, who is a dear friend of ours and an industry mogul already as well. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So good to have you both here. Such, amazing, talented artists. Talk about trends that we're seeing in texture right now. What is something that you feel like is a go-to favorite? Evie, start with you. Like, what is your go-to trend right now in texture?
Well, thank you again for having me on the show. So I'm glad you asked that question. Hello, everyone. So my go-to is basically short in texture, like short hair and curls. Like I am very much the person who loves short hair, and I also love texture. So that's my go-to, and color though. But you can't go nowhere without color.
All right, Ciara, how about for you?
I am really loving, first of all, thank you again for asking me these questions and talking about this today. I am loving all about shapes. I am loving how everyone is really shaping and forming their textured hair. So we have the curly bob, we have kind of this triangle kind of feel, we have kind of more of a square, boxy. I'm loving all of these different shapes.
You know, it's funny you should say that because I'm totally into the shape thing as well, right? Because there's so many cool things you could do and so many different shapes you can create. And I think sometimes people get intimidated by texture, so they don't really explore and experiment and really bring out the different shapes that you can achieve with textured hair that you can't always achieve with more finer, straighter textured hair. So it's a lot more fun to actually create shapes on textured hair.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, ladies, I'm dying to know what you guys are planning to show us today. So I'm going to have you kick it off, Evie, first. Talk to us about what you're planning on sharing with our guests today.
All right, so it's so funny you mentioned shapes. I'm definitely the one to see shapes. So today what I'm going to be displaying is a short, curly, very strong shape, adding some curls and a little pop of color and with a little twist to it as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Ooh, I like the little twist.
I know. Now you got me on the hook. I'm very interested. So why don't you get started, Evie? And Ciara, what about you? What are you going to share with us today?
Okay, so I have two different twin mannequin heads. So I'm going to be working with Bantu knots today, and I want to show how you can get that wave and texture and kind of manipulate textured hair with Bantu knots, which are really like everyone's learning about Bantu knots lately. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Fantastic.
Very good. All right. Well, jump in, start teaching. Let's see what you guys are doing here. Evie, oh my gosh, she's got a razor in her hand. What is she doing over there?
I promise I won't cut anyone. Just hair. All right. So I do have a razor in my hand. And so what I love to do, of course, working on texture hair, I love working with different tools. I'm not really much of a person who likes to work with shears on textured hair, meaning straight shears. I am more of a texturizer shear, razor type of girl when it comes to textured hair. And even curved shears. If it's a straight blade, then it's a curved shear because I love to be able to get the geometrical shape that way. So what I'm doing right now is I pretty much have a pre-cut. You see, I already have a little shape down at the bottom. And what I'm doing is, you'll notice I'm never going to pick up a comb. I am not much of a comb. I am a finger girl. I love finger styling, which is very organic and natural. So I have this razor. And simply what I'm going to do is, she's already been diffused. I'm just going to drop the hair down. And then from back here, which is going to be my guide, I'm just going to simply come from behind and just razor this out so I can keep that strong shape that I was looking for earlier. And then once I'm done with this, creating the outline, the shape, the interior of the shape that I want to create, then I'm going to go in and fine tune with my curved shears to give it more of a voluminous type of curl on top. And then I'll add my papa, surprise.
I love that because, it's something that I was thinking about as you were using the razor is it's almost like working with texture, or cutting texture, I should say, is similar to ice sculpting, right? It's about taking away the parts that you don't want to create the shape that you do want and leaving what's left to create that really beautiful shape. So by not having the comb and not being so precision, you're actually letting the hair sit where it will and creating the shape based on the hair growth and the way that the texture lays.
Yes, I love to address curls where they live, so me just allowing the hair just to follow its natural shape, like me having the curls drop from here, coming from behind, and just going in with my razor and just getting rid of the hair and then let it fall. So again, when she decides she wants to wear her hair straight because she can, she's not going to be worried about trying to find that cut. It's going to already be there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Evie, you know what? I love what you're doing because I think it breaks the rules that sometimes we think of. A lot of people, I think, are guided not to use razor on textured hair, and then you're showing that if there's an appropriate way to do it, that you can build that structure and that shape and really execute it well. And for those of you who are watching, who are not salon professionals, and you're just watching to get tips from the pros and insider access, this type of thing, Evie, I want you to just talk to us about how that shape, who's this guest like right for? What type of person would like work best with this haircut?
Well, this guest that sits in your chair who's going to rock this amazing shape and curls and things of that nature, it's going to be the one who likes to have fun. But at the same time, she can tone it down as well. She's the person who likes to live in her texture, which is basically curly. And she's the person who likes to wear her hair straight. Just a person who likes different options and also looking for a pop of sassy, fun. Natural hair doesn't have to be so boring. You know what I mean? Like, you got to jazz it up a little bit. Like, the hair needs to speak to you. You know, you're not speaking to the hair, but it needs to speak to you. So it's for that person who want to be spoken to.
Well said. Well said. Now listen, speaking of being spoken to, you keep building that chip. Looks cool, but like, if I don't get Ciara talking, she's gonna finish her Bantu knots in the whole head. Girl, you work fast. Talk to us about where you've been.
Okay, so I started off with my curly textured hair mannequin head, and I'll bring her back. They're twins. This is Ashley. So you see her texture. I went ahead and used the Bumble and Bumble, the anti-humidity curl gel, because I love the texture that it gives. It just gives it a nice hold, but it's not a strong gel. But I like the cocktail. You know, textured hair loves little cocktails. So I mixed it with the Curl Smith. This is the Hold Me Softly style balm because I want this to be a very soft hairstyle. And so I started the Bantu knots here, and I have my second mannequin head, which I already finished the Bantu knots. They've had time to dry. So if you're in a salon, you can obviously stick your client under the dryer for because this is done on dry hair. So about 15, 20 minutes. I just took her under the dryer for about 15, 20 minutes and they were already dry. And so I have undone our texture, but you can already see, like, just by untwisting these Bantu knots, you get this like glorious, wavy, beautiful texture. That's what I love about textured hair, is how you can manipulate the curl pattern. And now I'm just adding a little IGK serum just for a little gloss. But I have done my Bantu knots all within the same direction. So on this side, they're all coming back in this direction. And on the other side, the same thing, because I'm gonna have this middle part that I'm gonna bring her, I'm gonna have this middle part, and I really want us to see this wave, and then it comes into some texture here. So I'm gonna start working that through for us, separating, and just really, I like to work with my hands. Same thing as she was saying, is that, you know, textured hair, being able to manipulate with your hands, not using a comb all the time is my favorite. And you can just feel everything coming together. But I love already this curl. Like, she's glamorous.
I love it. And you know what I love about Bantu knots is it's a classic styling technique. Like, this is not a new thing, but it's being rediscovered by a new generation. And I think that's what's cool about classic hairdressing.
Absolutely. I'm loving seeing everyone, you know, try these Bantu knots. And I like to try either on dry textured hair. Sometimes I will blast it with a little bit of a blow dry just to stretch the curl and then add the product so that I have more flexibility, so I can see that root a little bit smoother and then have the kink coming from here. But I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan. It kind of reminds me of like Diana Ross a little bit. You know how she had that kind of soft texture coming from the root, and then the ends give a little bit of volume.
Mm-hmm. Ciara, you know what I love, and I'm gonna just comment because there's so many parts of this that make it timeless, right? So the Bantu knot styling themselves, I think, like Nick said right now, if you do fun, interesting partings, that's a style in of itself, right? The guest could walk out wearing this cool Bantu knot style, and then after, you know, the next day she can pull these out, you know, like you've done, and all of a sudden she's got like a total transitional style that just works as a setting, but she can leave the salon in those knots and have it be absolutely a non-trend cool look.
You are so right. You are so right. I mean, and we, like you said, we know Bantu knots come from the Bantu people of Africa, which is a tribe that's been around for generations and generations. And to see now in 2020, you know, girls walking around with their Bantu knots, seeing on the cover of magazines, seeing all the different curl patterns, it's definitely timeless.
Awesome. So talk to me, you know, Evie, while you're chipping away and sculpting there, talk to me about where do you see trend going? Like, what do you feel is next for hair?
Well, what I feel for next is hair, of course, is definitely going to be texture, but I think people are going to be a little bit more bold with blending in a little bit variations of colors so they wouldn't normally do. They wouldn't make sense because, you know, as hairstylists, we think of colors as being in harmony. I don't think these colors going to have much harmony anymore. I think it's just kind of be like the thing of just like, let me just kind of do what I want. And they just want their hair to really make a statement. And it's going to be that thing where they don't have to, it's almost like I'm wearing my look and I just don't care. People are walking around in the world just like, look, I'm gonna do what I want. And I'm just gonna just be like, what? Who gonna check me? So I kind of think it's like really going on like with the trends. And that's just being honest, you know what I mean? But I really do believe that people are gonna go more into either creating curls, right? If they don't have natural texture in their hair, like, you know, figuring out ways to get it in there with different variations of color and not committing to actually hair color. A lot of trends right now is a lot of people committing to the wax colors that people are wearing that they can just buy that's temporary and they can just rinse out because there's no commitment. So I think we're going to see a lot of that trend for 2021 coming soon.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you say, you know, people are doing what they want now, because I think, you know, your hair is your own artistic inspiration and expression of yourself. So I think that's what people are finally realizing is they don't have to fit into a mold or a box. They could be who they want to be and embrace whether it's natural texture or fun colors or an undercut or even a shaved head. Like it's your crown and glory to wear the way you want.
Yes, it is. And that's exactly what we're going to, you know, be displaying. I promise you're going to see it. How's that shape looking? What you guys thinking over there?
Good. I like it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add in a little pop of color that I was talking about. Okay.
All right.
So
this is the part where she gets to be unapologetically her. Here she comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have some colored hair, some textured hair. And so what I decided to do was like an orange and more of like a yellow, just again, things that really don't make sense that you would normally use. So this is already has clip-ins on them. Okay. And so I'm simply going to just find my placement. So I have this particular color here in the front. And so those of you are, of course, hairstylists or consumers, clip-ins are very fun. There's no commitment because remember, nobody wants to commit to anything. They're not trying to commit to relationships. They're not trying to commit to jobs. Nobody's trying to commit to anything right now. So there's no commitment when it comes to clip-ins. So I am going to back comb a little bit just to kind of get me a little foundation. I'm going to put my clip-ins here. Just snap it. Comes with a little clip. Place it in there. And how I got the texture was simply by using one of this baby cool iron here. Taking it. I love this iron. Absolutely love it. Taking it, just going around in a circle, just kind of releasing, just to mimic the texture that I have in the hair naturally. So that's how I got the texture there. And then I am going to pop in some more color, but what I'm going to do now is just kind of go in and just show you how I did it. So I got some pink in here and go around and just wrap it around just like this really quickly. Be careful not to burn yourself and just kind of let it sit there. Slide it out and voila, there's my texture. Okay, so I'm just going to play with a couple of these really quickly and then place it in there, comb it out, and then give you my final.
You got it. You know what, Evie? I love that you're going there, right? You're being like encouraging people to be their authentic self. You're like being your authentic artistic self right now, putting in the unexpected for that girl who's brave. Like you said, this is who this is for. But I also think that right now it's a very relevant topic, and it is a very timeless thing for people with textured hair to utilize like clip-in extensions and things like that to kind of enhance the shape that they want to build in there, whether it's adding crazy color or just like fullness and expansion of the shape. Like having the hair on the side to really enhance is something that I've learned in my own personal texture journey. Like my hair kit is now expanded to include a lot of variety of different texture types so that I can add and enhance those, not even only from a color perspective, but also just from a shape enhancement, a length enhancement, and really just being able to do that without having to address that, or to really manipulate or add a whole lot of heat to the natural hair that's going on, so I can change and have so much fun creativity. So I love that you added in that with the clip-in extensions.
Thank
So
you.
I can't wait to see what you got going on, and I'm gonna let Ciara talk to us about where she sees the future of texture trends going.
So I definitely see I see people, and I agree. That's why I agree. I see people who don't have textured hair trying to get more of a wave, a curl. I see that really coming. And we see lately that a lot of people are starting to wear braids. Everyone's getting into braids. You see them everywhere. And so I thought the next step is now people are going oh, you know what? Let me see how I can get some texture. So we're going to see small barrel curling irons are becoming back. We're going to see the wave irons of people really trying to get that texture. And I kind of feel like that deep wave of kind of where we're going today, where the root is smoother and has a wave here, and then you have more of a little bit of a kink through here, which is definitely kind of from back in the day. I definitely see that coming back.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So what are your following steps with your technique now?
Let me tell you about here. So I have taken out my Bantu knots, and I love the shape we have here. But what I want to do is I'm going to blast the roots a little bit and elongate the curls with the blow dryer. So I like to just give a few seconds in the section here. So you see I've portioned off this section here. So that way I'm only blasting just the lower perimeter, and I'm going to let the other hair fall on top of that. So
So while she's blow drying there, because I think what I'm seeing, Ciara, is that you're just adding a little bit of heat so you can really stretch that out even further and really elongate that out. Is that right?
Yeah, so you see already how that elongates it. And it's just because I want to have just a little extra texture in there. And I may do one more layer. And then just to make sure we can release that curl pattern and make sure she has a nice shape. I told you I love shapes, and we're all about shapes this year. So I'm going to show that.
All right, Evie, talk to us about what you got going on there with your finished look.
Okay.
As you're getting closer.
Yeah, I'm getting really close. I'm just going in and just finding some other like curls where I just want to make the texture just a little tighter. What I love about texture hair is that I can be so creative. I can go bigger on the wand if I want more of an expansion. Ambiguous curl, I can go a little bigger on the barrel of the curl. If I want something a little bit more coily, I can go a little tighter. You know, so I can do so many different ranges. So right now I'm just trying to find how big do I want to go? Like what direction do I want to go in? And so me doing that, I'm just simply going in, just grabbing some of the hair, redirecting the curls, just shaping it a little differently, right? Where I want a little tighter so I can have more of a coil shape. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start to release some of her texture, play with a little bit of expansion here in the front, and then I'm going to add in my final piece to what I feel like is the next trend. So the other thing I want to add really quick, I think the other thing that we're going to do as far as trend is concerned is going to be more fabric. I see so many different fabrics that people are putting in the hair. Like people are rocking like different type, going to the fabric store, actually picking up interesting fabric that they can put in their hair or around their hair, so many different ways. So fabric is definitely one of the ones that I see on the runway, inclusive with just even with any type of hair, whether it's straight, wavy, curly, it doesn't matter. People are definitely trending with fabric. So I wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of that as well. Now, Evie, as you're pulling those curls apart, will you need to go back in and texturize those at all, or will you be able to get the texture that you need to blend with just separating them?
So what I'm going to do is just go in and back comb. So I'm going to go ahead and just back comb and just kind of give it more of this look here. So you just see more of that on the ends and just play around in it. And remember, she's the one. And then I'll do some placement because maybe I want some of this pink to come down here, and I'll pull and I'll just kind of move around to where I see like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. It looks good here, you know, because again, what I did was I added 3 different colors on one weft so it can give me different variations of, color blend. Yeah,
I think you guys do such a great job. And I think one of the fun parts about this show that's also sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge is demonstrating techniques on mannequin heads that only have so much length or so much like texture, right? There's a limit when it comes to like textured hair, when it comes to these mannequin heads that we're working on, that I think a lot of people out there in the world who aren't necessarily professional industry people, they're watching us work on these doll heads, and we're these adults who play with doll heads and play with hair with our dolls our entire lives. But to be honest, right now, it's a great way to practice the craft and see what you're doing. But I know for sure that we'll be able to incorporate, and we'll be seeing a lot of your guys' work, because the two of you do such beautiful work, and we can follow you on your social media channels to see examples of this type of work that you're talking about right now on actual models, on real people, and not have that disconnection with this mannequin head. But it presents a challenge to be able to communicate that and demonstrate exactly what you're doing, and you guys are both doing such a great job. I think the value that we're capturing from these timeless styles that you guys are both executing are going to be something that everybody can take something away from.
You know, Ammon, I think what's great about this is no matter who's watching, if you're a consumer or you're a pro, you know, you can grab different tips and tricks. You know, Evie adding, you know, clip-in extensions to add dimension and color and texture, you know, and then Ciara really doing the Bantu knocks and directionally where they go, and then how to comb them out, and even just that blow dry at the root to really release and stretch out the hair. These are such great consumer tips too on how to maintain your own texture.
You're absolutely right, because most of the time when people do go in as a consumer, they don't know how to have the conversation with their hairstylist. You know, it's
right.
Like, I want this, but okay, so what do you really want? You know, what are you really saying? So watching a show like this is super, super like engaging and exciting, because like, how do I have this conversation? So watching a person like myself and Ciara and other people have came along before us, I'm like, wow, I really picked up some nice tips, and this is how we learn. This is exactly how we get it done. Because if not, it's like, well, how am I going to find out like these different techniques without seeing it? And the good thing is you're hearing it from a professional. You're not really going on. I love YouTube, don't get me wrong, but you're hearing it from a professional and saying that, you know what, this is a good way to be able to execute how to be able to stretch my texture, because I am going through a moment where right now my hair has so much shrinkage, and I'm complaining. I'm going to my stylist, like, I'm complaining about my hair is not elongated. But when I watched this show, you know, they said to use a blow dryer to expand my texture. So that's something they can take away, which is super, super important. So absolutely love it.
I completely agree with you. And I want to just add in about, you said earlier about using fabric in the hair. It's so funny you said that, because I promise you, just like a month ago, I was like, you know what? Remember yarn twist? Like, remember we used to do yarn twist? I was like, oh, what happened to yarn twist? And I started to see people using yarn in their hair again, and that is like back in the day. So I agree with you on that. But to add on about, you know, also with the video, I do agree with these shows. It's an opportunity for consumers to, you know, for people who do not have a hair background to be able to see other options they have, you know, to see that, okay, maybe I have this, for example, they have this shorter length like her, and they may think, you know, I'm in transition, I'm trying to grow my hair out. What kind of hairstyles can I do in the meantime? I mean, look at that cut that she's doing. I mean, it's like, it's that shape, it's bomb, that burst of color, like it's so like hot to try.
Well, your style isn't looking so bad right now. So why don't it looks like I can tell you're doing that like hairdresser finesse-y kind of like last looks kind of moment. So why don't you kind of wrap us up in with what you're doing and like some tips for people who want to get this at home?
Well, absolutely. First of all, you need to always invest in a pick. I went through and picked through her hair, and I like to just really puff out. And you see, I have kind of flattened this section, and I'm only picking from the underneath, because that's where I want that fullness. I'm gonna step back so you see. I want that fullness to come from underneath, and this to be smooth, and we can really see where I kind of stretch those roots. And then I like to come in at the end afterwards, and I'll step back a little bit so that you can see. Come in with a little magic underneath. And then they just kind of shake the roots, a little massage it in. And then I like to bring my fingers through just until right before we hit the mid shaft, at the end of the mid shaft, and then I release. And that's a great way if you have finer hair. It just fills in where usually that light kind of comes through, and you can see through that hair by just pulling out that root. You fill that in. I just love that shape. You know, like I said, I'm all about shape. So listen, it just gives a nice little roundness through here and some fullness there.
Oh, it definitely looks timeless.
What do you guys
I
think?
think it looks fantastic. Ciara, you knocked it out of the park. Very relatable, transitioning from that Bantu look into something that's very like that stretched out, almost has like a finger wave ripple into fullness. Really, really chic. Love it. Of course, from Paris, what do we expect?
I'm sorry. I was saying that finger wave you were saying is definitely coming from doing the Bantu knots all in the same direction. So making sure they come back on one end and back on the side, so you really keep that pattern.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very well done. All right, Evie, bring us home, bro.
I'm gonna bring you home. So the other thing I wanted to mention about hair that has bold shapes, like people are killing the art design in the hair, like with the parts. Like my hair scream, like it gives it so much more precision. So I decided, you know what, let's give a strong shape. Now, what if she wanted to go out and she had like a 9 to 5? Because most people are like, okay, what if I want to go out and I want to go to an event, I want to be very edgy. So we as artists, I love to plan paint, more, like hair color paint, but I also like to paint glitter. So what I'm going to do right now, and I have this lovely, lovely hair glitter that I have. And what I did was I pulled the colors from here, and I put it inside of her color. So that's where the color inspiration came from. So what I'm simply going to do is I put a very deep part in. And what I'm simply doing now is taking my little paintbrush and I'm going to add the glitter inside of the part. So she can definitely accommodate this with some makeup. Imagine her with a little shimmer here in her creases of her eye. Like really, again, who is really going to check this woman right here? Because she's killing it.
So cool.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah, she's definitely owning her look, this girl.
I love everything about this. So remember, with these bold cuts, you all don't be afraid to get some parts in there. Like, don't be afraid to add in the accessories. Don't be afraid to add in this glitter that is going to set that apart. Like, you're not walking around seeing anybody looking like this. I know I haven't seen nobody. So I'm just gonna kind of give you more of like a 3D of what she's really looking like over here.
So fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very fun. And I'm definitely with Ciara. You need a pick to be able to give that like explosion of like expansion. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just fine tune, just pick apart some of the curls that I want to just kind of see a little bit more frizzy. Because here's the thing, frizz is not bad. It's always such thing as a good frizz. So right now I want some good frizz.
Yep.
Frizz is fabulous.
Purposeful frizz, right?
Yeah, I love a frizz. Ain't nothing wrong with a frizz.
I'm laughing as I'm looking at you as you turn your mannequin. I'm like, I think my haircut looks the same. I'm almost have the same shape going on.
Hey, listen, you guys, I know in typical hairdresser fashion, this part of the playtime where you're zhuzhing and you're tweaking, you're putting those final touches, it can go on for a minute, right? Because we're always perfecting and just playing with it. But I just wanted to take a second in the interest of like thanking you guys and really like moving the show forward. Thank you so much for your expertise, for your passion, for bringing what you guys do on a regular basis and being willing to share it with the world, so that, you know, salon professionals or guests that are sitting in our chair can go, I learned something valuable today from both Ciara and from Evie. So you guys knocked it out of the park, and we really, really appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us. I've had fun.
Absolutely.
I will welcome you all to invite me again for something else, a little bit more exciting. Always
more exciting.
More exciting. I love it.
More exciting, like, you know, me and the paintbrush, like I love to get down. So like some color techniques, you know what I'm saying? Like some of that. Like I was able to paint some glitter. That's fun. And everything we did was fun. But I like to add what the trend is, like showing the different variations of the colors and not really caring like who is really gonna like really consider them and be like, okay, why are you wearing that hairstyle? They're gonna be like, you know what, you are rocking that hairstyle. And I love that color, by the way. So that's the statement you want to make. So again, thank you all so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. I love getting to know new artists, so I'm so happy I got to know you as well, Eva. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you guys produce with these shows. Thank you so much for bringing some education for us all.
Oh, for sure. We look forward to seeing you both back on Unveiling Beauty very soon. So we'll see you soon. Have a happy holiday if we don't see you.
Okay, you as well.
Thanks, ladies.
Stay safe.
All right, Ammon, lots of great information from the ladies today, but now moving into it's the season of giving, right? And we want to really spotlight an organization that does just that and takes care of people. And this time of year, I know you're very passionate about it. I am too. We have partnered with the Northern Illinois Food Bank to really help with meals. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Northern Illinois Food Bank has been around since 2014, and they've been helping feeding over 500,000 people per year. And so we thought, since it's the week before Thanksgiving, this would be a good opportunity for us to really spotlight this organization and really see if we can help out even more people. Because I know right now, especially with the way that the world is, right, things are not as easy as they would be. So help is even more appreciated. And this is an organization that is really doing amazing things to help get accessible food to a lot of people who need it.
I agree with you, Ammon. And every year, Ulta Beauty partners with NIFB to really help support with food and funds for this amazing organization. So we will be donating. Of course, this year there's COVID, right? So now more than ever, we need to help people. Food is hard to come by in a lot of areas. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part. So we will be donating $5,000 to the organization to really help support their initiatives.
And just for you guys to understand what that actually means, for every dollar that's donated, about $8 worth of groceries will be purchased. So your money goes a long way. Even a small donation can help. And this is where we would love to get your involvement and get you guys engaged and really help us out so that we can make a big difference.
Ammon, every little bit counts. There's 4 locations that you can support the Northern Illinois Food Bank, and that is out of Geneva, Rockford, Joliet, and Park City. And it's all about raising food in those locations or funds. So please look for their website, please go donate, and please support them during this amazing time of year where it's all about giving back and taking care of each other. And I know, I can speak for myself and Ammon that now more than ever in the world, we need to take care of each other, and what a better opportunity to do so.
Also, just to make it even easier for you guys, Nick and I are going to be sharing links on our Instagram stories and posting so that you guys can swipe up or click to a GoFundMe page. So you can either go click right on there or just keep staying in touch with us on social media, and you'll be hearing more about ways that you can help so that we can report back and talk to you about the impact that we were able to help during this beautiful time of the year.
That's true. So you know what? Today was full of tips and tricks. No matter who's out there watching tonight, I hope you learned something really fun. Also about a way that we can give back to, a charity foundation, an organization that's in need of really support. Lots of great information today. Send us some questions. We want to hear everything that's on your mind. We will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time to answer all those questions on Instagram. And one lucky person will be a winner tomorrow and will be announced. So, Ammon, what does everybody have to look forward to for the next Unveiling Beauty?
Yeah, so don't forget, you guys, our cadence is Monday nights, Unveiling Beauty, and then Tuesday nights after the show. So next week, we have a very special episode since it indeed will be Thanksgiving week. We're going to do an episode that's about giving thanks and getting glam, which essentially means that we're going to give you tips on cool things that you can do from a beauty perspective with Thanksgiving, whether you're doing it virtually, whether you're doing it just with your immediate family, but they're usable. But the part that really is making it special for me with this episode, Nick, is that it's going to be done with all of our own family members we have on our pro team and our design team, and we'll be able to share some special traditions that we have so that it has a really good feel-good message. So you guys will want to tune in for not only those beauty tips, but also to learn a little bit more about our team and the vibe that we have.
I love that, Ammon. What a great way to wrap up the show. Thank you for spending your time with us tonight, and we look forward to see you tomorrow on Instagram and next week back here on Unveiling Beauty. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, guys.